What's going on, everybody? My name is Colton. Welcome to my NFL playoff predictions for the 2025 season. We have arrived. We have 14 teams in the field set to go. We're going to pick every game from the wildcard round all the way to Super Bowl 60 in Santa Clara on February 8th. I did just release a video power ranking all of these teams, all 14 teams. So if you want a more in-depth look at each one of them, go check that video out. Here, we're just going to pick every single game and determine a champion. So we're going to get right into it. On the AFC side of things, the ever important 1 seed does go to the Denver Broncos. They capture the first round bye, which is super important for obvious reasons. The first game we're going to take a look at here is the final game of wildcard weekend on Monday night. It's the Houston Texans who get the top wildcard going to the AFC North champion Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers make it in after the Tyler Loop field goal that goes wide right on Sunday night to clinch the division over the Ravens. It was truly an epic game. And now here we are with Aaron Rodgers at 42 years old leading the Pittsburgh Steelers into the playoffs in a home game. It's tough to go against a guy like Aaron Rodgers in this spot. I mean, he gets DK Metcalf back. He has what potentially could be his last ride in front of him. But I've been pretty consistent with my feelings on the Pittsburgh Steelers this year, and that is just that they are a limited offense. You know, Rodgers posted career lows for a reason. I don't think they have a ton of talent on the offensive side of the ball. Kenneth Gainwell and Jalen Warren have been great. DK is coming back for this game. Freiermuth has been solid, but it's going to rely on that defense, and I think the defense on the other side in Houston Texans is just so elite that I'm going to take the Texans to win this game 23-20. I just think this is going to be a close field goal type game, but I'm going to trust the much better defense. The Steelers, I think, will generate a pass rush. I think TJ Watt will play out of his mind in this spot, I'm sure. But CJ Stroud has been playing with a lot more confidence, more reminiscent of what we saw from him in his rookie season. I think we'll see more of that CJ Stroud. And as long as they're careful with the football, I think their defense will make enough negative plays, get them plenty of opportunities on the offensive side. And I think the Texans will do just enough to sneak past Pittsburgh in Western Pennsylvania on Monday night. Next up, we have what I believe is the game of the wildcard round. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars, winners of the AFC South, playing host to the 6th-seeded Buffalo Bills. Now, this is just an absolute brutal draw for both sides. I think both of these teams are absolutely hating the fact that they drew each other in the first round. I really believe that these are two AFC Championship caliber teams. I could have easily seen this being the AFC Championship game this year, but here we are in the first round. And it's a really tough one to pick because I love what the Jaguars did. I didn't fully believe in them till later in the season, but what Trevor Lawrence has accomplished is amazing. Liam Cohen in year 1 has completely flipped this team. They go get Jacoby Myers, kind of push some of their chips into the middle here, going all out for a run through this AFC that many consider to be wide open. So this is a big year for Jacksonville, but they are very young. Buffalo feels a little more desperate, pressure mounting on Josh Allen. He now faces a field that does not have Patrick Mahomes, does not have Joe Burrow, does not have Lamar Jackson. Many are touting it as his best opportunity thus far in his career. I gotta believe he takes advantage of it at least a little bit and gets out of the first round. I'm just gonna put my trust in Josh Allen. I think this is gonna be a higher scoring game. It isn't interesting that the Bills have the number 1 rush offense, the Jags have the number 1 rush defense. That's an interesting dynamic, but I'm just gonna rely on Superman and Josh Allen to get it done. I think they win 34-28. I think it's gonna be a thriller. I think all of the AFC first round matchups are really almost coin flip type games in terms of how balanced I really think some of these teams are. So I'm going to take the Bills. It's really just on the shoulders of Josh Allen. I know it's a lot of pressure on him, but I think he goes into Duval County and gets the victory. And finally, we have the Los Angeles Chargers going up to Gillette to take on the Patriots. The Patriots, of course, go 14-3. Mike Vrabel in his first year, we're talking about Liam Cohen. Vrabel also has a fantastic season. They do have the pretty light schedule. They haven't played a lot of playoff teams. They do get to host this one against the banged-up Chargers. I've talked ad nauseum about the Chargers and their injuries and how detrimental it's been and how high their ceiling could have been. I'm just not sure they can fully realize that potential with the current makeup of the team and the injuries. I think the Patriots will win this game. I'm going to take them to win 21-18. I think Herbert will will them into a competitive football game. I think the Chargers defense is good enough to keep it a close game, but the Patriots have had a lot of explosives out of the backfield with Travion Henderson. Drake May has been doing a pretty good job taking care of the football. He is probably the runner-up to MVP or the MVP. It's hard to go against them at home here in Foxborough. I'll take the Patriots to advance to the divisional round. On the NFC side of things, we've got my Seahawks with the bye, which is a great stress-free weekend of football coming up for me. We look at the rest of the NFC participants, and we start with the Panthers at 8-9, hosting the Los Angeles Rams. And I'm going to click the Rams right away. I do not think the Panthers are going to have a repeat performance of what they did to Los Angeles earlier in the season. I just think in a playoff spot, I think Matthew Stafford is going to not make those not silly, but reckless mistakes that he made in that first matchup. I think the Rams aren't going to be caught off guard by this Carolina team this time around. The Panthers were a really weird team this season. They caught a lot of people off guard. They caught the Packers off guard, and then they would lose to the Saints badly. They were a very Jekyll and Hyde team. Towards the end, we saw them lose 2 in a row now to end the season. I just don't think they are strong enough to contend with any of these NFC teams, really, and certainly not the Rams, who are one of the more high-powered offenses in football. If the Panthers have any shot of winning, they're going to have to, get some special teams plays, get a few bounces, get some turnovers, get pressure on Matthew Stafford. Going to have to make it ugly and have some weird things happen, I think. And I just don't think they're going to do that. I'm going to take the Rams to win this game 34-16. Moving right along, we have the Philadelphia Eagles, the defending Super Bowl champions, playing host to the San Francisco 49ers, who had a really strong year, but of course lose to the Seahawks in the last week, and it really dropped them from a potential 1 seed all the way down to the 6th seed, and now a date with the defending champs, which is a tall task. This matchup is interesting because you have the Eagles defense, which is so strong, and the Niners offense, which has really come on and has been so strong. And I think those two units will have an absolute battle, but on the other side, the Niners defense has been so bad. Eagles offense has struggled a lot more than last year, that's for sure, but I do think they're still going to take advantage of how bad this Niners defense has been, and I think that'll ultimately be the difference maker. Perhaps the Eagles defense and Niners offense kind of quote-unquote cancels out, but I think the Eagles have an overwhelming advantage on the other side of the ball. And I know they have struggled. I know it has not been smooth. They're, not running the ball like they did last year with Saquon. I think they will find some success, though, in this game, in both the passing and the rushing game. I just don't see the Niners limiting the Eagles. I do think they score some points, but I think the Eagles end up pulling away and winning 27-20. Next up, a very fun one on a Saturday night. The Chicago Bears hosting the Green Bay Packers. These teams have played countless times, but really don't meet in the playoffs all too often. The last time they met was in the 2010 NFC Championship game. I think before that, you have to go back to the pre-Super Bowl era to find a meeting in the postseason between these two. So definitely going to be a fun one at Soldier Field. It's definitely going to be raucous. I think this was going to be one of the more fun games of an already exciting weekend. So they split in the regular season. I'm going to lean Packers on the road. I just haven't fully bought into the Bears this season. Both of those games that they played, the Packers not should have. I never like to say should have won, but even that second game, they beat them obviously the first time around, and then the second time they really let it slip with the onside kick and some dumb mistakes down the stretch. I think they are the better team. Now the Bears, actually both teams are kind of cold. I was going to say the Bears are hotter, but they've lost several straight as well. I think the last time these teams have won were the matchups against each other. So both teams haven't been hot down the stretch. Bears had that shootout loss to the Niners that really hurt them, but they still find themselves with the 2 seed and a chance to knock off their division rivals. So it's going to be a fun one. I'm going to trust Jordan Love a little bit more in this spot. I do worry that, Ben Johnson will create some absolute amazing offensive schemes in this game. I think it's going to be a, watch out for what Ben Johnson's going to pull out of his bag of tricks all game, but I am going to trust in the team that I think has been more consistent. The Bears have relied on a lot of last-minute comebacks, a lot of crazy plays. The Packers maybe haven't reached the highs that the Bears have reached, but I think they've had a more grounded, balanced team. No Micah Parsons will hurt, but I think they do enough and win a thriller. I think it's going to be a great game. I'm taking the Packers to win 26-23. All right, back to the AFC side of things for the divisional round. If these matchups go down like I think, we'll have the Broncos hosting the Bills, and that immediately sets up for just an absolute banger of a game. These teams met in the wild card last year, and it was a Bills rout. I think it was 31-7. Year 2, Bo Nix, though, coupled with a stronger team in general, and the defense has been amazing. This one will also be in Denver opposed to Buffalo last year, so I think there are, it's a completely different situation, but I'm going to go with the same result in the end of the day, and that is a Bills victory on the road. I just can't quit Josh Allen right now. And it's so tough because taking the Bills to advance this far, realizing that they have such a tough matchup in the first round with the Jacksonville Jaguars, this whole thing could blow up very quickly if the Jaguars end up winning. But I'm gonna stay with the Bills. I have liked them all season. I think they have had obvious flaws, especially, rush defense has been a huge liability for them. But the Broncos don't exactly get off to fast starts. Now they're sitting on the bye week, which of course is good. You're never going to argue that the bye is bad, but maybe come out a little rusty for a team that already starts slow in the playoffs. I just think I'm going to trust Josh Allen to outplay Bo Nix. I think the Broncos won't get that late game comeback like they have so much during the regular season. So I'm going to take the Bills in this one. I'm going to take them 27-23. Then we got the Patriots and Texans, and I'm back and forth in this one, and I had a pick. I almost want to go back on it right now looking at it. Do I put two wildcard teams through to the AFC Championship game? I will. It's so tough. It's so tough because the Patriots haven't seen like a defense like this with the Texans. They haven't. You know what? I had the Patriots advancing to play the Bills for a third time, but I'm actually going to do a late switch. I'm going to go Houston Texans. I think the Texans are such a strong team. Just thinking about that defense going into Gillette, I really do think they can limit what the Patriots like to do. I swear I was planning kind of on picking the Patriots, but I've been back and forth on it. I'm going to go with the Houston Texans, and that'll set up a Houston Texans home game in the AFC Championship game as the 5 seed, which would be pretty crazy. But as for that matchup, yeah, I think the defense can actually limit a lot of what the Patriots like to do. I think they can force Drake May into some third and longs. I think they can get after the passer. I don't know. It really comes down to CJ Stroud because I think the defense will play well regardless of who they're playing. But if CJ Stroud can just not make mistakes, you saw it kind of last year against the Chiefs. They didn't play so soundly against the Ravens 2 years ago in their 2 divisional matchups. I think they can finally get over that hump. This is the third time around now with CJ Stroud and D'Amico Ryans in the divisional round if they do get there. And I think they can find success against a Patriots team that, again, has not seen anybody like the likes of this Houston defense. So give me the Texans. I think it's going to be a scrappy game. I'm going to go Texans 17-14. I am just kind of pulling scores out of nowhere here. I didn't write down any scores. I'm just going off the vibe, but I will go with a lower scoring game there. Then we see the Seattle Seahawks getting to play their first playoff game in a couple years, and that would be against the 7-seeded Packers in this scenario, and I think the Seahawks, of course, are much better than the Green Bay Packers. I'll talk more about the Seahawks as we progress here, but the Seahawks are one of the most balanced teams in football. Their defense, in my opinion, is the best in football up there with Houston, and Sam Darnold has played much better football since having those turnovers against the Rams in the first half. The last couple of weeks has been really a more careful version of Sam Darnold. I think he needs to continue to do that. Take care of the football. Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker are running very efficiently now down the stretch, as opposed to early in the season when they were struggling to get off the line of scrimmage. The offensive line is playing much better. Even guys like Anthony Bradford are stepping up. So I think the Seahawks, they are built for the playoffs. It is going through Lumen Field, which is the toughest place to play in the league, in my opinion. And I just don't think the Packers can hang with them. I'm going to go Seahawks win 34-20 with maybe some garbage time points for the Packers. And we get a rematch of last year's divisional matchup with the Eagles and the Rams. Once again, it would be in Philadelphia, and this is similar to the Patriots-Texans with the whole back and forth on it. I was originally going with the Rams. Am I going to switch to in this one? No, I'm going to stick with the Rams. I think their offense is too high-powered, and this is where those Eagles offensive hiccups this year will really start to be a problem. Because the Rams' defense is no slouch either, but you know that Matthew Stafford is going to be able to move the football. Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, they would have to create a lot of havoc in this game. I think they would have to get after Stafford early and often. Last year they didn't have Devontae Adams. Now you get that additional threat, barring he's healthy. I think this would be an absolute great divisional matchup, much like the last year's snow game in Philly. But I'm going to take the Rams to take down the Eagles 31-24. So AFC Championship game, we get the Bills going to Houston. That is such an interesting matchup. These teams played, I think, in Josh Allen's rookie year in the playoffs, where the Texans won in overtime, if I'm not mistaken. Now we get it in Houston, and I'm not prepared yet to take the Texans to the Super Bowl, so I am going to go with the Bills. I am going to say Josh Allen finally reaches a Super Bowl. Once again, I cannot stress this enough. That first round matchup is absolutely disgusting for the Bills. I hate this side of things just because of that. I have more confidence in them beating the Broncos than I do the Jaguars. So just saying that for Buffalo Bills fans. But in this game, I think the defense of the Texans will get a little bit mitigated by Josh Allen's strengths. They did match up earlier in the year, and the Texans beat them with Davis Mills, so they're definitely capable of beating Buffalo. But in this spot, I think this is Josh Allen's moment. I don't mean to be too normie with the pick here. I know it's not a lot of sharp analysis, just keep saying the name Josh Allen, but I really think that's what it comes down to, because I think they can, run the ball, keep it a low-scoring game, and then Josh Allen just makes a few more plays that CJ Stroud doesn't. I think it might just be simple as that in this game. So I'm going to take the Bills. I think it'll be a pretty close game. Like I've been really thinking for most of these, that's how wide open the playoffs really feel this year. But I'll take the Bills to win, and I'll take them to do so by a score of 24-20. And then we get the NFC Championship game and the Seahawks and the Rams, the teams that split in the regular season. But the Seahawks threw 4 interceptions in that first matchup and only lost by 2 points and had a chance at a game-winning field goal. And then, of course, they led an amazing comeback in Seattle in their second matchup. I think we're going to see a lot more of second half Sam Darnold in that game in this one. I think the Seahawks beat the Rams to advance to their first Super Bowl since the 2014 season. I think the Seahawks are still better at most positions here. On defense, I would take the Seahawks in a heartbeat, and that says a lot because the Rams do have a good squad on that side of the ball. But Devin Witherspoon, Nick Manwari, Kobe Bryant, Julian Love, the secondary is absolute locks. You couple that with a pass rush that has been fantastic, anchored by Leonard Williams, Byron Murphy stopping the run. You got Ernest Jones and Drake Thomas playing absolutely fantastic football at the linebacker position. And you got depth with guys like Ty Okada at the safety position. This is a deep, deep roster and a very young roster at that. So the sky's the limit for this Seahawks team. I think it hinges on, again, Sam Darnold has to be careful with the football, and I think he is starting to be better and better at that. And I think that'll be critical, of course, in this postseason run. But the Seahawks defense has shown the ability to keep them in absolutely any game. So I think they do that here. I think they win a fun one. I think the Seahawks defense allow a little more points than they had in some other games, but I think the offense hits its stride and wins this game 38-28 in an absolute fantastic game at Lumen Field. That sets up a Super Bowl between the Buffalo Bills and the Seattle Seahawks. And you know I was going to do it this year. You can call me biased or not, but I'm taking the Seahawks to win the Super Bowl. I truly think this team is built for the postseason. Rock solid defense, improving running game, smart quarterback play, and yes, he has been incredible this season. It's just no denying that over the past 2 seasons, Sam Darnold has been a great quarterback. Don't let any amount of hating from people tell you otherwise. JSN, I think, will have an amazing game, maybe even get Super Bowl MVP here, and I think the Seahawks win the Super Bowl against the Buffalo Bills. I will say 28-24, and a little redemption for their last Super Bowl appearance against the Patriots that ended in that same score. So give me the Seahawks. I really been trying to lay out in my previous video and a couple other videos how I'm trying to take an unbiased angle in explaining how great this team is. I don't want it to be overshadowed by biasness, of course, but I really do think this team is built to win now and to win in the future, quite honestly, because like I mentioned, they are very young. So that is my playoff bracket. It should be an absolutely amazing playoffs. I mean, it's so unpredictable, especially this year. So, I'm not banking on every one of these to be right, but I do feel strongly that the Seahawks are the best team in the league. It's going to be fun. Let's enjoy every single game. We have 13 games now left in the NFL season. We got to enjoy every single one of them. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you guys all very, very soon. Later.